Want
So,
to do some notes?
I don't know. Hi, this is Laurie,
This is Peter.
and we're with Action Heroes LA with another review, this time of. Blah, 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 blah. This is Steven Spielberg's latest movie, The Fabelmans.
The Fabelmans, and excellent movie.
Excellent. Oh, right off the bat, Peter's like, excellent movie. He's like, giving his opinion already off the bat. Yeah, The Fabelmans is a semi-autobiographical movie about Steven Spielberg. As they say, it's probably not directly ripped, but certain
Correct.
things, elements like probably the dynamics of his family and his desire to become a filmmaker. So we have a fictionalization of his story, I think.
Well, I don't think it's fiction. I think
think
I
it's-
think it's totally true. You know why?
Why?
Because we did it.
Well, yeah, it's any kid who is interested in film, maybe who had the opportunity or resources to do a few little home movies on your
Right.
own. You may have experienced something like this.
Right. Well, the Gilliams. It brings to my mind the Gilliams. For one, Roland, Karen,
Okay, those names are familiar.
Andamo, Michael, and Peaches.
Peaches.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Every black person knows somebody named Peaches or Cookie.
Yeah, Peaches or Cookie.
Peaches or Cookie.
We're a very like dessert orientated people
With nicknames,
with nicknames.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So yeah. This is about. It says, young Sammy Fabelman falls in love with movies after his parents take him to see the greatest show on earth. Armed with a camera, Sammy starts to make his own films at home, much to the delight of his supportive mother.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's a basic.
But
telling
you
of
know
the
what?
story.
The thing is, although his mother was supportive, and that's what he needed, because she was more the art person.
She was very artsy, free spirit.
Yes.
She was a skilled pianist. And,
Yes.
Like she could have been a concert pianist.
Yes.
In classical music. But she became a wife and a mother. And
Yes. But the thing is, the father, who was more kind of set in structure, was also the perfect person, because the two combined, that usually you don't find
Right.
in real life, I think helped structure him and make
make him
makes
who he is.
great
And
movies.
Hold on, Ginger's barking. Keep talking while I.
Okay. Well, remember I told you, well, no, we did it because we did stuff here in this garage, but I loved going over the Gilliams' house, because I remember one time there was a pile of dirt in the backyard.
Okay.
And we set up a camera, and we were going to, we decided to,
What were you gonna film?
Were
you gonna do like war or something?
kind
like
of, yeah, like a war scene.
Yeah.
But we needed smoke.
Okay.
Well, of course, we didn't have smoke, so Mike would get in the background and throw up dirt off to the side, out of the view of the camera. And
So
then
it would drift in.
the dirt would drift in,
Yeah.
and it was our smoke.
Okay.
And then when we had other things, both him and Andamo would take and, make action behind us and stuff like that. So it was very much like Spielberg, or, as a kid, which I loved, him having a plank
Right.
with
That was
dirt
really clever.
on top of that, and then have somebody run over and it would look like an explosion behind the
Right,
person,
right.
and they would go down.
And this was in his little war films that he
Yes,
was filming.
very ingenious.
Yeah.
And in the cowboy movies that he would do, and they were shooting, of course, there's no flash.
Yeah.
So what did he come up to do with the 8 millimeter
Yeah.
film? punch holes.
To make it look like the guns were firing. There was a spark firing for the guns.
And that was the pure white light behind the film. And you would see...
Yeah.
And it was beautiful. It was ingenious.
It's, of course, when they film, it's Steven Spielberg now filming something like that. So,
yes, but you know what? I can see him as a kid thinking about that.
Yeah, or having an eye for certain things.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a very enjoyable movie. It wasn't what I was expecting, especially from Spielberg, particularly because like West Side Story was a big production, and I think I was expecting kind of a bigger, cinematic experience from him. But this is kind of a quiet family story, and it kind of shows, but it's not like melodramatic or anything like that. It quietly shows like. It's the world she's caught between his artsy creative mother, and his dad, who is a scientist and fixes TVs and is inventing future computer stuff. And
you mean fixing TVs like your father used to come fix all of our TVs?
Yeah, I had a dad like that too, and I can relate to that because I know artsy mom and a scientific dad.
Yes,
and so, but the beauty of it is how they both support. You would think like his artsy mom was like, leave him alone. He's pursuing the dream I didn't get to do and being creative. And it does stress that he does take after his mom, but his dad was so supportive of him as well. He's like, he thought it was a hobby and stuff, but he still supported his hobby.
Yes.
Even though he's like, this is a hobby. He's going to grow out of it and go, make computers like me. But
yes. And now he had the Lionel train. And I love the way they showed, him getting it, because it's just like the way I would get. You would get each, the coach, the engine, the caboose, the whole thing.
You would get them one at a time.
At a time, and when they had the box that had Lionel on, I was like.
You're like that. Those were amazing trains. We still have one. We still have an engine that my brother got when he was a kid in the '60s that our grandfather gave to him, and also the what is that, the power?
I forget what that's
what is
called.
It's sitting up here in the closet in the garage here. But yeah, that was a nostalgia trip. But yeah, this was a fun movie, and it was, like I said, it wasn't. I need to see it again. Because my expectations were one thing and it ended up being something else. So I don't think I kind of was able to appreciate a lot of things that I think on a repeat viewing.
Well, the thing is, like you said, West Side Story
was
such a big thing. Yeah. But to me, because I lived a lot of this,
right,
that movie was huge.
Yeah.
It was huge. Even though it was filmed and brought to you in a subtle way.
It's a small and quiet story about a family, but it like hits all the points, of like growing up in that era, especially, and being like inspired to do something like that. And none of us became Spielberg,
no.
but we had. I remember doing little 8mm films, stop motion films with action figures, not dolls. and like they were like these little sci-fi, the Micronauts. You remember those things? I don't know if you remember those.
I don't remember.
They were kind of like early 80s. And doing things with them and poking holes in the films or scratching it to make it look like they're little gunshot lasers. And stuff. And I think we heard, probably Spielberg and George Lucas talking about how they did that. I was like, oh!
Well, see, I remember Perry having these monsters, and he would play with them and stuff like that. Well, just like with my Hot Wheels and some other cars, and then just those monsters, those in particular, I get hot needles or stuff and poke them through it. That was bullet holes. And now, like I said, I love and had the Lionel train.
Yeah.
But just like in this movie, sorry, spoiler, but he wanted to crash them.
Right.
I wanted to crash them like the Addams Family did.
The Addams Family. I'm not a
Yeah, in the Addams Family.
In the old Addams Family.
Yeah, they would go up into an attic. They had a whole train thing set up. I think with 3 trains.
Okay.
And
is Gomez out there?
Yeah, and then Gomez would say, "Okay, here we go," and he'd run the trains, and then they'd all crash. But there was so much that it brought back memories. But the other things is that, well, we had M80s and M100s, and we'd stick them in places and light them, and then we'd come running, and boom!
And you still do that to this day sometimes. Smoke bombs are big now. Oh. Anyway, so the Fabelmans, it's a small, quiet story about a family and about 2 people who are very different from each other, but they love each other very much.
Yes.
But their differences, they just can't seem to live together or support each other in the way they need. But them supporting their children and their children's dreams too. It's really a beautiful story. And
no, it really is.
Yeah, it really is. And there's one line in the movie that one of the characters says. It's like, he says, like, movies are not like real life. And I think I felt this movie was Spielberg's attempt to do a movie like real life. Because of how, like I said, I was expecting a big Spielberg, lots of very dynamic scenes and structures, and there are, but they're kind of smaller and subtler. There's still the Spielberg touch to them, but yeah, it's a smaller, subtler, kind of quiet movie. It's not overly dramatic, like I want to go to Hollywood to make film. No, it's not anything like that. Or even the parents' relationship as it falls apart.
Yes,
is there's no big screaming match or dramatic moment. And I want to point out the parents are played by Michelle Williams and Paul Dano. And Michelle Williams was an actress.
Book 'em
Dano. She's been in acclaimed stuff. She's been great for a long time. I haven't really started appreciating her until she was in this miniseries called Posse Verdon. That's Glenn Verdon, the dancer for Bob Fosse, his wife. She was amazing in that, and ever since then I'm like, oh, Michelle Williams. So she's great. And Paul Dano, who usually kind of is a senior touring actor, he commits to a role, and he has to be very kind of dialed back and just subtle and nuanced. There's my nuanced word. And they both do a great job. And the kids who play the Spielberg kids are fantastic.
But to me, Seth Rogan was so unlike anything he's done before.
Seth Rogan.
Isn't he in it?
I didn't think.
No,
I think Seth Rogen's in this.
Yeah, he's the
what?
The friend sitting at the table that is.
Oh, that the mom
was.
Yes. Kind of. Was that wasn't Seth Rogen?
Who?
I gotta look that up. I don't think that.
I bet you that was Seth Rogen.
I don't think it was Seth. He didn't look like anything like Seth Rogen, to me. All right, let's see cast. We're gonna see who played the friend. He looked familiar, but I couldn't think of who it was. Excuse us while I kiss the sky. Oh!
Boom!
Dang! Seth Rogen, man.
He was so.
Oh my God! I did not recognize him.
It was stuff that if this was something he had never, or I don't remember ever seeing him do.
Yeah.
And he was incredibly excellent.
I'm floored.
Get off the floor.
That's through the floorboards to me. Holy man! There's everybody fantastic performances in this.
Yes.
And it's a touching movie, but it's not overly sentimental like what Spielberg in his early days would be, especially movies based on kids and stuff. So
Yeah, but you know what? Like I said, and like you had said, he's usually big and this is huge.
Yeah.
even though this was so much more subtle and everything else, having lived something similar, to me, it was huge.
Okay.
Because of the subtleness of what was happening with the family and stuff like that. Huge. When Seth Rogan said, "Here, I'm buying you this camera. I'm doing I'm doing this." It was just said like this.
Yeah.
It was huge.
Okay.
It was huge. It meant something.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
to the mind, to the heart, that meant everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, almost like the Gilliams when
when they
were throwing up the stuff and we were filming it. And the thing is, we definitely talked about it. In our 30s and 40s.
Okay.
Talked about, hey, do you remember this?
We did this.
So it was something big to us.
Yeah.
So this movie to me was absolutely huge.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I have to watch it again. Like I said, the expectation I had going in. I think really is like, okay, I gotta, I'm enjoying this, but it's not anything like I was expecting it to be. So yeah, and I can go in without it, but no, it's like still on my. And I want to bring in like the end. I don't want to spoil the end scene, but
Don't
it's
spoil the
kind
end.
of.
Don't spoil the end.
No, yeah, there's a scene where and the story is like Spielberg, how he got his start is like he just pretended like he was working at a studio and just like pack up the suitcase and like walk in like he was some like they thought he was some director's kid or something like he belonged there.
Yeah.
And that's how he got his start. So
and now get out of here.
Well, he gets the Sammy Fabelman kind of gets he submits letters to everybody and he gets to meet with one person who's a television producer. And but the television producer offers for him to meet a famous director, and it happens to be like one of his favorite directors, the guy who he idolizes.
Right.
I mean, he doesn't overly idolize. They just show like he has the guy's posters in his room, and he's going to see his movies and stuff. But he doesn't really talk about, oh my, this guy is the most, So that's why this movie is subtle like that. That's what's cool. But at the end, what the director's advice to him, the advice the director gives to him is great, and then Spielberg, the final shot of this movie, goes completely against that's his advice, and it's an amazing shot.
Yeah, you see this? You see that?
Yeah, and
those are great.
And
you
then
the
final thing
and
is he does what the
Spielberg
director says.
Okay, you know
hilarious. Yeah. I'm doing this wrong. He's like, okay, he does this amazing shot, and then he shifts the camera to what the director suggested. And so it's a funny thing.
Yes.
It's a funny way.
Yes.
But yeah, this was a fun, very heartwarming, a subtle, really good movie. I'm looking forward to watching it again.
Yeah, but after this, I'm going to show you a clip of Gomez Adams crashing the trains.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So any more words about Fabelmans you wanted to approach?
Yes.
You made
see
notes.
It once, see it twice, see it three, maybe see it 4 times.
Well, anybody who dreamed of making movies or did it in your backyard, whether that's what your ultimate dream you followed through on or you didn't, just for a fun hobby, I think you can appreciate this.
It was a great movie to appreciate.
Yeah, or just anybody. It's anybody who had a dream, a creative dream, and you can kind of relate to the being in situations where you couldn't go out for it. They do address kind of like, if you do pursue this path, what you may lose,
right,
and ultimately lose out on in life and stuff to do this. And so that's also kind of an interesting thing they talk about in this as well.
Yes, and I mean he
it's a sacrifice.
They
talk about the sacrifice of
yes.
doing this, and and actually, when you think about Spielberg's life now, he may have got to have his cake and eat it too, though. Well,
yes,
maybe, but we don't know his home life, actually.
In a way, but two, we don't know.
We don't know that.
What other things he could have been.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
we don't know what he is to his family. I know he's got a bunch of kids. Some of them adopted, some of them he's been married a long time now, and he seems like a supportive dad, but he was a dad that couldn't always be there, I'm sure. So
yes, and I just wish he could have been there for me. So remember, I'm one of the kids that you adopted but forgot about and said, but hey, water under the bridge.
Right.
Give me a call.
Mr. Spielberg, give me a call. Anyway, so that's the Fabelmans. It is available to stream at home right now for about $20. So check it out. Let us know what you think in the comments. And we out.
We out.
We out like the latest Spielberg film. I don't know. Yeah. I got to stop doing these. Good night, y'all.
Good
Bye.
night.